Hey everybody, it's me, the Einstein of Wall Street, from the balcony at the New York Stock Exchange. I've got some chocolate here, but we're going to talk about that in a little minute. You know I bring you food, finance, fashion, and I've never brought you real estate before, but today is something special, okay? I'm here with Jade Shenker.
Shenker like Shenker.
Like Shenker. You don't even need to think about it too much. Look, let's go back probably 5-10 years ago. I'm sure you've all watched $1 Million Listings. I know I used to binge watch it with my son, right? Ryan Serhant. Let's talk about it. New York, real estate, retail, commercial. Anyway, this wonderful lady who I recently met is a groundbreaking commercial real estate agent, okay, but she's so much more than that. We're going to let her tell her story. Her story is about, it's a human interest story in so many ways. You know I love to let people tell their stories about how they got here, what it was like, what it's like now, and what the future looks for them. We're here on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. There are thousands of companies here. Many of them are in the real estate space, whether it's REITs, real estate investment trusts, whether it's huge companies that are commercial real estate companies and whatnot, but it's all about the deal, right? It's all about the deal, making a deal, making bids, making offers. That's what's exciting. That's what gets us up in the morning. I always tell you to go out there and find something you love to do, get really good at it, and then you will never work a day in your life. And I think that's what we have here with my new friend Jade. Welcome.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for having me. Okay, that is, I think, one of the best intros I've ever had. So thank you. And this is probably the coolest place I've ever been. I mean, just the photos that you were showing me upstairs, I feel so grateful, especially because women who weren't allowed to vote were here, and women who weren't even allowed to have cigarettes, right? Is that right?
Correct. And think about it. So this building was built in 1903. They started trading outside this building in 1650. Already in the 1650s, there were 26 brokers that used to trade commodities on the bottom of Manhattan. So Wall Street used to be, there was a wall, and above the wall was just forest. And that's where George Washington was inaugurated. But this is the heart of the financial district. You loved the deal, the art of the deal. So let's talk about it. Tell me a little bit about you.
Well, I am a commercial real estate agent, and I'm also in the reality TV space on a show called Owning Manhattan on Netflix with Ryan Serhant and a bunch of other commercial agents, other real estate agents. And I'm the only commercial agent, and the reason that I got into it was because my family, I come from a long line of real estate developers, and they've always been male. And I mean, since I was probably like a teenager, all my dad taught me was there's never a no, there's always a way to get something done. Yeah. So I mean, I would cold call. You probably remember this, but the Village Voice, before there was Craigslist, before there was any sort of like internet presence.
Classifieds in the back, there were huge
exactly.
pages. Yeah,
and he used to have me go through the Village Voice to do for sale by owner and try to negotiate these deals when I was like 14 years old. So I always saw an opportunity to be like, okay, well, number one, how do we get a deal done, right? Are there different aspects to a deal that is outside of what's standard? Like, how do we understand the other person on the side of the deal and what they need in order to get it done? So being a little bit more intuitive to that. And then also, how do we take a building, especially in a market like right now, that commercial is tough. Yeah. You know, commercial is not at the place where it was in 2019, where, you know, everyone was leasing out office space. The world changed. So, you know, people started doing...
think about WeWork. I mean, think about how that's changed. Think about how COVID changed all that, and the whole landscape of the real estate market has changed. Yeah.
And as coming from like an owner's perspective, I've always been so frustrated because I'm like, well, you know, we have this building, we have these spaces. Why aren't we marketing it in a way that's hitting people globally? That's actually getting people's attention. So, you know, I saw Ryan Serhant's way of marketing and, you know, doing YouTube and videos and having events, and I was like, well, why aren't we taking this like amazing residential approach, and why aren't we bringing it to commercial? Because commercial is what, like a $2 or $6 trillion industry. Like, why has no one done that? And I kind of saw it, and I was like, well, okay, let me try. And I mean, the faces I used to get from other brokers, they were like, oh my gosh, what is she wearing? What is she doing? But I'm like, well, well, your opinion is completely valid, and I understand that, but you're talking about it, right? So
Exactly.
you're not talking about that other building.
There's no such thing as a bad review. If somebody's talking about what you're doing, then you're getting a point across.
Exactly, and what I saw was the more people talked about something, the higher the SEO was on it and the shares. And you know what? It just takes one person to be like, wow, okay, that girl who through an event in that commercial space actually, this person's looking for a commercial space. Can I connect her? Or you know what? I actually like that she brought 130 people to come see this building, or her YouTube video hit 1.5 million people between the United States, South Africa, Dubai, Israel, and maybe she is onto something. And that's what I kept on doing. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna listen to my gut. And I know what I'm doing, and I kept on doing that, and we were able to put a lot of buildings under contract at record prices. I mean, back when, even like last year, I think the average price per square foot in Union Square was like $600, anywhere between $400 and $600 a square foot.
Right.
We sold a commercial condo for just under $1,300 a square foot because
Just double.
It's crazy,
Yeah.
So I know that it's still early and people are still adopting this new way of marketing.
Is this a new way? So I need to ask. So look, I read about you. I was wanting to find out more about you, and there are obviously stories about your dad, right? So tell me that. Give me a little. I mean, you obviously
Yeah.
do you have siblings?
No, I'm an only
You
child.
don't. So you're an only child.
I'm an only
so
child.
are you the daughter that your father had, that he really wanted you to get into the business he was in, but he wasn't sure if it was going to be a business that a woman could break into?
Yeah.
Or were you the son that your father never had, and it was a different thing?
Well,
tell me about
yeah,
that.
I mean,
Because we all are a function of our family. Like my father, Eastern European Jews, came to America after the Holocaust. I was going to be the doctor that he went on to become. It just wasn't my calling. Tell me about that for you.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously growing up under your father's, like, he was a real estate person.
Yeah. So same thing. My grandfather and my great-grandfather, they came here from Eastern Europe, from the Holocaust, and they were very strict.
Were they in real estate?
They were in real estate.
were
They came
already
here and
way
got
back.
in real estate.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
early
in the
part of the
Bronx.
century.
Early part.
Right.
And then they came here, and my dad was the first person who was like, you know what, there's something to like lower Manhattans. And that was whenever like East Village was like super like in the
Buy
slums.
a building for $100.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
So he bought a lot of things in the East Village, in Little
Avenue
Italy,
A and all that.
right
Really?
down the street
So
on
what
John
year
Street.
was that?
That was in the 70s.
In the 70s,
So he
okay.
bought like
That was
he-
just when
he
people
could buy
started buying things in
Yeah,
Manhattan.
a block for like $500,000.
Yep, you could.
And he went against the grain from the family because they were more conservative.
Right.
And it's like, I mean, back then it was like, he was dealing with the mafia. He was dealing with artists who were shooting things. Like it was just
When
like
you
crazy
think about
things.
the Lower East Side in the 1970s, that's Andy Warhol, Basquiat,
Mm-hmm.
drugs, just storefronts, building fronts.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be able to walk down Avenue A, and it was just rats. There was nothing. The buildings weren't even there anymore.
Yeah.
It was just the facade and people and bums living behind there,
Yeah,
right?
it was
and
crazy.
nobody had the vision. Obviously, your dad did. Nobody. If you asked anybody, we're not going to touch this with a 10-foot pole. This is going to be dead forever. There's no future to this neighborhood. And if you think about it now, it's like, why didn't I think of that? I coulda, woulda, shoulda. Like that mentality. So your father did that.
Yeah.
How amazing is that?
I mean, it was crazy, but his stories. I mean, dealing with people who weren't paying rent, that were gonna hit him with a baseball bat,
Yeah.
and dealing with that, like you have to have like chutzpah.
Yeah, huge. Huge.
So and then
The Shenkers have chutzpah. Let's be clear about that.
you have to have it, and he always wanted a boy.
Okay.
I think
there you go.
Yeah, he always wanted a boy.
That's okay.
And my family is males, and you have to keep the family name as well.
Yeah.
And he had a girl, and he was like, okay, well, it's different. And the way I was raised was, okay, because I'm an only child, he had to teach me the business because that's
Which is so great.
you have to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was always, well, Jade, you don't have to work, and get married. And I got married early.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did. I got divorced early too.
Well, there you go. Give me 5 on that one.
And it was. I mean,
First in, first out. Let's go. LIFO, FIFO. That's the way to go.
I think it's honestly, it was a great learning experience. I mean, when you come to like negotiate and all of that stuff, I turned my real estate brand on, and I'm like, okay, well, let's really discuss on how to get a deal done.
Right.
Whether it's that or separation, whatever it is. But I think
you got out of that deal. You got in, you got out. Let's move on. Let's go.
It's good. I have it under my belt.
Yeah.
And I think at an early age, I was always just trying to be like, well, how do I prove to my dad, like, number one, I know what I'm doing,
right.
and I understand. I have a competitive advantage because I listen and I'm creative, and I'm not afraid to take a risk. Like I seek risks, and I'm like, well, if someone is doing something a certain way, there's always a way to get better and do things differently.
Right.
And because I'm very confident in that space, I'm like, what's needed? What's needed on both sides? And I kind of saw, I was like, well, spaces aren't being marketed to the capacity they can be, right?
Commercial, for sure.
Commercial,
right, yeah.
Specifically.
I mean, think about that. We know that. Sorry to interrupt you, but we think about the whole real estate market. Think about just residential real estate, how it's marketed. I'm sure everybody who's watching this has watched some kind of a real estate show, whether it's $1 million listings in New York or out west. I mean, you stage an apartment, right, and you do it in a different way. So residential is always way different than commercial. So you've taken the commercial thing to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
I just want to talk about your confidence for a minute, because that's something. Risk, first of all. Confidence, another thing. These are things you can't really teach somebody, right? I thrive on risk, and it gives me confidence. That ability. I started here on Wall Street in 1985. Some people say 1885, right? But that sense of the adrenaline around this place, the excitement, the risk, right? The chaos. I thrived on that. For me, that was where I found my energy and I found my confidence.
Yeah.
Some people shy away from that. Some people need to wake up, have a coffee, read the paper before they do, right? You seem to me like somebody more like me. You come out of the gate, you're like a thoroughbred horse just running for it because you just know what you want, right? You found something you love to do.
Yeah.
You'll never work a day in your life.
Oh my God, I love it. I always say it's like, and you probably know it more than anyone, it's like, I don't believe in work-life balance, I believe in work-life integration. So integrating every aspect of your life into your work. And like
100%.
Like being creative, and I love, that's why whenever I met you, I was like, I felt so inspired, because I was like, who
You're in
else?
the right place. This place embraced you from the minute you walked in it because of those qualities that you have.
Yeah, I think that in life, like, why am I here, right? I think if I'm going to be a part of anything, like I want to do something bigger. I want to have an impact, and I want to be able to touch people, because yes, there's the deal, and we think about, okay, this is a building, this is someone trying to buy a building, but like who are the people behind that deal? What do they need? People don't realize, and maybe I saw this at an early age, and like, that's people's livelihoods. There's whether it's a private equity firm and there's families, or if it's an owner who bought something back in the 70s who's now in his 80s and he wants to sell.
Exactly.
Like those are things that really have such an impact on me. So yes, it's a business savvy. It's the adrenaline of creating something and showing someone how they can make money from what one person sees as 4 walls, or if you can convert that vision into a valuable asset and showcase what you can do in space, get creative. Like that is what my serotonin, my dopamine is just like throws it off. That's why I don't sleep. But at the same time,
we're gonna work on that.
I know we are. But like there is a beautiful emotional aspect to it where like I'm able to help people and
So you're a humanist. See, that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Right? You're talking about the deal, and the deal has a lot of all this chatter around it, but at the end of the day, it's two people talking about something. And then you get, the more you know about them, you sort of start to describe in the beginning of this interview about how you don't know where people are coming from and what this deal means to them. But the way to close the deal is about getting into where they're at on this deal and making connection to them. It's about trust, it's about confidence, and it's about them understanding that you have a vested interest in this being a good deal for everybody, right?
Yeah.
You're able to walk away from the deal and everybody's satisfied.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes I feel like that, and you probably know this more than anyone, sometimes you just have to get creative.
You got to get creative, 100%.
Like not every deal is cookie cutter, and like it's not just sometimes the things that you see, but the things you don't see, and listening and understanding people and being mindful of okay, what are the other factors in this? And I feel like that's been something that I'm really cognizant of and always trying to make measurable actions towards.
And you've done that. So tell me, so the way you're approaching commercial real estate is obviously gotten the attention of Ryan and obviously gotten attention of the industry. And so you have this show, right? It's called?
It's called Owning Manhattan
Owning
on
Manhattan.
Netflix.
Okay, so talk to me about that.
Season 1 was wild, and I was going through like a massive personal shift. You know, I was married on the show. I'm very
you were
open.
married on the show.
I was
Wow.
married on the show, and then
And then
I
that
was
didn't
not
work
married on the
out.
show.
Oh my God! Wow.
Not to spoil it, but you see that process, and
Is this show out there? People are binge watching it already.
Oh my
Okay.
God! People,
Okay.
everyone's been
so you
watching
didn't
it.
blow anything for anybody.
Maybe
if you didn't watch season
1,
2, 1,
yeah.
episode 9, now you know what happens.
Shit. Okay, just
Sorry.
skip that part.
Skip that part. You're editing it out. Okay, go ahead.
Just bleep it.
We're editing him out, and we're editing it out.
Bleep.
Let's go.
And then I think it was really cool because yes, people see the selling sunsets, they see the $1 million listings, but like at the same time,
They're seeing your life too.
yeah, they're seeing
That's a big thing.
all of our lives. It's commission, it's deals, it's no sleep, but there's personal aspects to it too. Like what is everyone going? What are people? Yes, there you go. What are people going through in life behind the deal? And I mean, there's a reason behind us, working so hard. Whether it's legacy, whether it's just. I mean, some people care about like a day-to-day job, and that's awesome. But I think whenever you really want to do things differently, it's like it's legacy. It's okay. Well, maybe I'm going through something difficult, and like I want to have something that I can control, and that's me. It's not because of a father. It's not because of a husband. It's not because of something else. Like this is something that I did. I worked on. I did the risk, and I believed
It's
in
also,
it.
sorry to interrupt you, but I do look. You have a social media platform, and you have a work platform, as do I, and it's not an easy thing to really open up about people's lives and people's struggles, right? That makes you vulnerable.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, being vulnerable in front of lots of people, it gets across a different message, right? And people are able to identify.
Yeah.
They're not comparing, oh my God, she's beautiful, she's got this, maybe she was given all this silver spoon, all that. No, you're showing your vulnerability, you're showing that you're a human being going through having an experience, and that makes you so much more attractive in that way. People will identify with your story. People who have gone through what you're going through. Maybe you're going to inspire, I pretty much guarantee that on this show, you're going to inspire other people who have gone through things to know that they can get through that they can go on to find their dream job and find their dream career and find something that moves them and motivates them to be able to be vulnerable, keep going, break barriers, and do all that stuff, irrespective of what's going on.
Yeah, thank you so much. And it's not every day that I get to meet people like you that truly, really, I mean, going upstairs and seeing just your involvement and the history of what you've been through, like that really touched. I think I almost went in tears, like seeing that room of just how many things have happened here and what you've been involved in and what you do, because I think you're taking a different approach to what has been, a traditional industry, and you're making it interesting and making it fun and showcasing life.
Making it human. That's how we get our message. It's a matter of telling your story, right? That's what I love to do. People will look at you and judge you and, make comments or whatever it may be, but you don't get a point across and you don't really make impact unless you tell your story and let people know who you are.
Yeah,
that's the point. We're here for not a long time, right? But we're here for a good time.
Yeah.
You want to get your message across.
Yeah.
You want to move people and impact people. It's not a matter of who dies with the most toys. It's a matter of how many lives you can impact while you're here, right?
Yeah.
It sounds to me that was probably your father's message, even your grandfather, right? Immigrants coming to America went out and found stuff. They went up against it, buying houses on the Lower East Side in the 70s. Everyone told them they were out of their mind. And think of it now. I mean, that visionary part of this is what's exciting.
Yeah.
And you seem like you're a visionary in that way.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, that's why I'm here. There's an Australian saying, "I didn't come here to fuck spiders." It means that I didn't come here.
Now, what does that mean?
It means that I didn't come here just to be here. Right. I didn't come here to just be another, stick figure in the whole scheme of things. No, I came here to do something. I came here to inspire or to touch someone.
Motivate,
or to do
create,
something.
motivate, and inspire.
Create, motivate, and inspire.
CMI.
CMI.
Okay, so what's the future
What's the future look like?
What's it look like for you, for Jade?
I would love, I mean, I've done, I would say like my deal flows normally.
You're 28 years old. You've done a
28 years
lot
old.
for 28 years old.
Thank you.
Right? You're obviously in the commercial real estate business. You're working with the best people in the industry,
Yeah.
right? In a big way. You have this wonderful show.
Yeah.
You've got the most amazing smile. You've
you.
been married, you've been divorced. You have wonderful things to look forward to in the future. What's next?
I would love, I love what I do so much, and I think that my value would be, hopefully I hope to be able to focus on more trophy assets. I love what I do now, but if I'm able to do that for a property that's, in the 100 millions and the 200 millions, like that is so cool to me, and to be able to
It's
just
not the money though part, is it?
focus.
It's more than that.
Legacy.
Right? Yeah. It's
I
legacy.
think like that's so important to me, and I think, at the end of the day, like, my dad's in his early 80s or mid 80s now. He had me when he was a little bit older.
Right.
And he has dementia now, and to go back home and see him and see the smile on his face whenever he sees all of that stuff, and he knows that I'm
he was
living
aware
on his
enough
legacy.
to be super proud of you of all the things you've done in his industry.
Yes.
Has he?
Oh my God. Yeah, the smile on his face every time I tell him, like, Dad, I sold a building.
It must be
And he's
amazing.
he saw me on Netflix for the first time.
must
Like
be
he
incredible.
just started tearing. He
I'm
actually
sure.
teared. There's one scene where a girl, I go to an event, and this girl goes, she's like, you just came here to show off your stupid outfit. And he chuckled, because he's like, he knows me. He's like, yeah, she did.
Exactly.
Yeah,
There you
thank
go.
you.
Check it
You
out.
too.
Yeah, this is it. This is my
Yeah.
my
But
costume.
I think my family name and making him proud, and also helping other people too. I think I have a global reach, and if I'm able to help people that aren't able to transact a different type of asset, I would love the opportunity to focus on those assets and try to strategize around that, because I just think it's so fun and I have so much energy, and that would be the next step for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Look, for me, I come here and I bring people up to this balcony for them to tell their story. And the most important for me is for them to motivate and inspire other people to be their best self, to find something they love to do, to go out there and get other people to, look, we are living in this really kind of wild, crazy world. Right? Obviously, you've had,
it's wild.
you've had some obstacles along the way. Think about this, like COVID, post-COVID. Right? I mean, that really threw everybody. You were what? You were 23 years old, right? So many people there's so many people who have gone through so much spiritually, with mental illness, with a lot of obstacles in their lives over the last 5 years, and to be able to have the excitement that you have for what you do, to have broken so many barriers in an industry that is, right? That's great.
Thank you.
Hey, you're disrupting the heck out of whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
and look, and you're coming out of it with a smile. So
Yeah.
I'm really happy you're here with me and
Thank you
and telling your
much.
story.
I appreciate it so much,
My
really.
pleasure.
It's
And you're here on Wall Street,
it's-
and really
this
Wall
is
Street's
so-
embracing you in a big way. Think about
This
it,
is
right?
this is so surreal. I hope to continue to touch not just young women, but women in general, and men and people, just that, like, it's okay to do things differently, and like
Yep.
you should, and take big risks. You might as well. Like,
Yep.
what's the worst that happens? The worst is that it doesn't work and you learn something.
Correct.
And then you take another risk.
We started the conversation as I'm a firm believer, and I always tell young people who ask me about, how do you get to there? There's no door that you can't knock on. The worst that you're going to get is somebody saying no, right? And we learn so much more from our failures than we do from our successes.
Yeah.
It's not a matter of how many times you get knocked down. It's a matter of how many times you get back up and keep moving, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you've had that happen to you along the way.
Yeah.
And I love being told there's no way you're going to succeed at that. You can't do that. And I love proving them wrong. And you've clearly proved
That is the
everybody wrong. You can't get asked.
Oh, Peter,
Boom.
thank
Thanks for
you.
coming.
You're the best.
So check it out, Trade Like Einstein, Money News Network. Here we're giving you stories of people's lives that are going to change the world. Jade Shenker, kicking ass, taking names, I love you. And that's all I got to say about that.
Bye.